Gods and spirits guide us, but our lives are our own.
Alright. We will make rest here for the night. Tales? Well, many tales have been told about this place. Practically. It is its history. Just which ones? Oh, all of you. All you say. Well, I'm not so sure, but maybe I could try. I do know many of it. Though we won't get to all of them tonight, if that is alright with all of you. Good. But do please keep yourselves warm. The biggest enemy here is the land itself. Right. Now, let me begin. In the days before mortal races roamed the lands, in the far frosted winters of the Northlands where we stand now, eldritch gods manifested from supernatural arcane forces. The primal roars from these transcended beings soon began to forge the very hinterlands that those of the modern day call the Freljord. In the ancient tongue, it is known as Freljord. The very gods that now wander and watch over their newly created home would become parts of fabled tales, legends, myths, and poetry of the Northlands people's undying will, embodying many aspects of their ways and culture, all of which are represented by the various beings of the land, commonly referred to in today's vernacular as the spirit gods of the Freljord. These gods dwell in and throughout the land, my fellow travelers. Among the sky, in between the clumps of soil and snow, behind the night's veil of stars, the waters that flow through the rivers, and the people's very deeds. Oh yes, they are very real as our breaths in this winter. Ah, you wish to know about these gods? Well, of course. I shall tell you all about them then. The first among them is the undying eagle, Isjarn, depicting Freljord's ice and wind and snow of its everwinter. The tribes view Isjarn, or Enivia in the common tongue, as their people's hope and freedom in their dangerous homeland, though symbolizing the very dangers of Freljord. Enivia is known in the tales to be the guardian protector of their home, for if any dare to disturb it, the very winds and the snow will turn against them. The tribespeople who have devoted themselves to the eagle are known as the Notai. Their tradition sees them following her migration pattern to escape the harshest winters. Their spirit shamans, who communes with the spirit of the eagle, may summon her to imbue themselves with the elemental magics of frost and ice.
Praise Anivia, the Frostbringer. Let us feel the coming of change. Grant us the freedom to travel in safety.
With the cold winter, hopefulness, and freedom embodying Anivia's power, the tribe's people's strength and endurance to push through the pain of hunger, thirst, and frostbite, embody themselves from the iron boar, Ildherg. Though its true corporeal form is unknown to the modern peoples of the Freljord, the shamans who pray to Ildhurg would feel extraordinary willpower to push through the pains of lethal wounds that they may suffer in a raid or battle. And if their fellow tribesmen were in need of aid, the spirit of the Iron Boar shall grant them protection with its very fury of the Freljord.
Bless us, Ildharg, Warden of Sacrifice. Protect my husband, protect my people. If my death pleases you, let it sustain my tribe.
When the Iron Boar protects from any threat that the people may face out in the winterlands, comfort and warmth would meet them as they would return. In time, some of these tribesmen would soon find themselves in preference of this slower yet comforting, this warm yet fulfilling lifestyle to that of those who still yet face the harsh cold out in the world. Even if these men were no savage hunters, they would soon become a legion of Runeterra's finest forgers. These men will be known to us as the Hearthbloods. These men were known to be the followers of the third spirit god of the Freljord, the Mountain Smith, the Shaping Hand, the fire below the mountain, the Great Ram, Ramhorg. Now, I must say, this particular god has truly one of the greatest of tales, which I will all tell you tonight. Yes, come closer. And listen intently. These next few tales shall warm us till dawn breaks. Today, in our modern language, he is known as Orn. There have been many tales of the Great Ram told around warm campfires around the Freljord. Tales that were passed down thousands of times over, never forgotten. One of such tales was when Orn sought out a worthy opponent for a fight, which led to him challenging the very land that surrounded him. First, he challenged the trees, but they were too weak and too fragile for his strength. Second, he went out at sea to challenge the icebergs, but they melted at his touch and melted away into the waters. And third, he challenged a mountain, that which, out of frustration, he headbutted. But the mountain did not yield. This one is a worthy opponent for him. The great battle shook the earth beneath, and the land itself began to reshape as the great ram charged. His charge was so great that the very mountains of Freljord were shaped. It is now the very mountains that are standing before us here in the Freljord today. When Ramhorg finally stopped due to exhaustion, he thanked the land for the glorious match that was worthy of tales. And in return, the land itself opened to him. The solid crust from its wintered surface and hardened stone then soon melted to reveal its molten core. As Ramhorg peered into the bright light and felt its heat, he felt the power of primordial flame in his hands. With this new gift from the land, the great ram decided that he would dedicate his life to forging great tools, armor, and weapons. The now master of the forge, Orn sought to build his home, made from the finest lumber, and that which took him 3 volleys to complete his work. Once it was done, he appraised his work and gave it the name Hornhall.
Good,
he said. Once he stepped foot inside for his well-earned rest. Unbeknownst to him, his sister Anivia wasn't very happy. When he was gathering the needed timber for his build, Anivia's favorite perching trees were felled. To retrieve a sense of reprisal or revenge, Anivia flew through an opened window of the horn hall and swished her cold, icy feathers over Orn's nose. The sleeping Orn then awoke to let out a sneeze that was so powerful that bellows of fire spewed from his mouth. With the extremely dry air, the fire soon spread and engulfed the horn hall and burned it to ash. To the great ram, he believed that because he gave his work praise, that it ultimately was destroyed.
I complimented my own handiwork, and look where it got me. Never again will I pat myself on the back. I shall let the quality of the work speak for itself.
With the unfortunate burning of the horn hall, Orn fitted himself with new tools to build himself a new home. First, he crafted a spade. Second, a lever. And a third, a fork. With these new tools in his mighty hands, he began to dig for ore, move mighty pillars of earth, and enjoyed the delicious spiced cherries he so loved. It is unknown how long his work lasted, but once it was done, the ores he mined and hammered were then shaped into a black mountain. Inside was a great forge that could channel and harness the powers of the primordial flames beneath the deep. Orn's new home was complete. He was proud that his new hearth home, as he called it, was done. But when he tried to enter, it was too hot even for him. To help cool the heat, Orn dug a trench that led to the sea, which then leads us to another spirit god of this land, the Seal Sister. Worshipped for guidance and protection against the harsh waters of the land, people even prayed to her for the protection of those who would be buried and passed on to the afterlife. However, revered the Seal Sister was, outside of these practices, many now do not remember her face, nor her form. When the trench was dug, she directed the ocean's water to flow through and down towards her home. The cold waters cooled the scorching heat. Great plumes of steam rose from the mountain. It took 3 days for the mountain to cool enough for Orn. In that time, the ocean that fed the river dipped several inches, and from those 3 days as her home cooled, soon so much steam had risen from the waters that the blue sky was molten with dark gray clouds. This then cooled itself until it became heavier and heavier, which soon burst to snow. In turn, it snowed for hundreds of years, blanketing the land completely, and it is why the Freljord has so much snow today. Now that the hearth home was cool, Orn would have its door shut in solitude, spending his life crafting weapons and armor worthy of legend, as he lived his life in isolation, in the comfort of his forge. After a certain amount of time that has passed unknown to him, a few folks would come asking for his aid. These folk were the 3 sisters of the Freljord, Sherilda, Avarosa, and Lysandra, who have journeyed many days and many nights to ask the great Ram for his aid. There are creatures of great and wicked magic that stalk our tribes. They want to destroy all things and claim the world for themselves, said the first sister. The great ram acknowledged them, but still fixed himself to his crafting, not raising his head to see the three sisters. They asked if he would aid them, but he grunted a no. This was understood by all. If you have heard his grunt, this grunt, you would have thought it wise, the first sister, Cyrilda, for not pressing the matter any further. These beings watch our very move. I would ask you to take the spade that once dug your mighty river and use it to dig the deepest trench in all the world. Then we can lure the monsters into the pit ourselves and solve our own problem. The second sister spoke in a tone of hopeful wisdom. It was then Orn finally raised his head, letting out a second grunt. The sound of this grunt meant,
I will dig that hole.
and that everyone should stop talking immediately. This was understood by all, and if you heard this grunt, you would have thought the second sister, Avarosa, wise for not pressing the matter any further. Orn heeded their requests and dug them a deep and vast trench, which he planned on doing anyway, and used this request as his excuse to do so. It was so deep that when the wind blew up from its abyss, it emitted an otherworldly howl. Once the deed was done, and several years have passed, the three sisters once again went to Orn for aid. Now, seemingly, the effects of battle took a toll on them. This time, the third sister, Lysandra, stood and spoke. Her icy breath reminded Orn of the cold and dry days long ago. Orn, builder of all things, she began, while Orn acknowledged her remark. His eyes once again stayed fixed at his forge, much like their first meeting.
I did not build things, just some of them.
Lysandra then spoke her request, said that she and her sisters wished to have a bridge crossing the trench. Orn finally rose his head to study Lysandra's eyes. He did not trust her.
There are many able bridge builders. Go and bother them.
Lysandra spoke again. The other builders cannot make a bridge with the type of stone we have. They claim it fell from the sky, and they cannot forge it for all their efforts. She then presented a chunk of star metal. Seeing this stubborn piece of material, Orn finally agreed to build the bridge and only requested for the star metal as payment. He then took it and forged it into a new tool to help him build this said bridge. But when it was done, the second sister felt bad about the third sister's lie, for they did not need a bridge at all. She asked Orn what sort of tool it was.
I used it to hammer, so I will call it hammer. I have said enough.
The exchange was short, and Orn went on his way. But once he was out of sight, Lysandra walked the length of the bridge, reciting strange incantations across the entire span. This turned the bridge into a crossbar that sealed an otherworldly beast below within the abyss. But when Orn completed the vast bridge, he told the sisters to not cast any magic or spells, for it would ruin the work. Had the three sisters left it well enough alone, it would have lasted for countless lifetimes. Instead, the enchantment would slowly eat away at the masonry. Even if it would take several ages for it to do so, the three sisters vowed never to speak of Orn again. Though the great Forge Lord did not know what had come to his creation, it seems, he slowly came to realize that he was not so fond of people asking him favors. This led him to face towards the west and threw his spade as far as he could. Where it landed, no one ever knew, and its fate is lost to darkness. He then faced towards the east and threw his fork as far as he could, where it landed in the Great Sea. Some say later a merking found a powerful trident at the sea bottom and still uses it to rule his kingdom. He was also about to part with his hammer by throwing it up into the night sky, but Orn couldn't bear it. Were you to see Orn and ask him if it is his favorite tool, he would scold you for thinking like a child. But in secret, he favors hammer above all other things he has ever made. Oh, right. I believe that shall be all for now until... what's that? More? Are you sure? The blizzard is starting to build its strength, and... well, if you insist. Just make sure you are all kept warm, okay? Please, keep yourself warm. Good. Then I shall continue. This next tale, in particular, is quite a peculiar one. Some say this may be true, while some others say 'tis not. But everyone in the Freljord knows that you should never challenge a troll to a drinking contest. The little ones know not to make a bet with a troll, for trolls are sneaky and will always win. Also, everyone in the Freljord knows that the uglier a troll is, the luckier and the more cunning it can be. One such troll, known as Grubgrak the Hideous, the oldest trollkin in the world. His chest hair was so long it got tangled up in his gnarled toes. He'd often trip over it and break his nose, which was bulbous and misshapen from being broken so many times. He only had 2 good teeth, 1 bad eye, and 1 worse eye. Warts and pimples covered his round belly. I will not tell you how he smiled. If I did, I would never eat fermented fish stew again, nor will you all ever be able to consume any food that we have consumed tonight. He approached Orn's hearth home, and right outside requested that Orn build him a door to keep his treasure from thieves forever. Orn, however, wishes to dismiss him, but before his doors would shut, Grubgrak stuck his hideous foot out to stop it from closing.
Let us make a wager,
said the truly unbeautiful troll.
Whoever can finish a cask of troll mead first owes the other a debt.
If it makes you go away, Okay.
Orn replied, who had never had been beaten in a drinking contest before. Everyone knew this back then, and now you do too. Orn was quite a big drinker. The troll smiled, which warped one of the pillars of her home. And as Orn had his back turned, Grubgrak slipped a shard of true ice into a cask and handed it to his challenger. What is true ice, you may ask? It is a magical piece of ice that was created by Anivia, and is used as a rare material for weapons. It is so cold that it can never be melted. Only those known as the Iceborn are able to handle the touch of this said material, while those who are not may die. Now, once Orn returned, they toasted in the jovial manner of the Freljord and drank. Orn found the troll mead watered down and did not like it. However, Grubgrak was already halfway through his cask. With his own cask still almost at the brim, Orn tipped his head back further and drank until he thought he would drown. And what seemed to be only a few seconds, the troll slammed his empty cask down and belched, and the fire in the oven turned a sticky green. Orn coughed and spluttered.
What's wrong? Are you choking?
Grubgrak teased the defeated Orn.
You cheated.
Orn replied. The ugly troll laughed hysterically. In truth, the ugliest trolls have almost all the advantages in the world. But Orn did not spend much time with ugly trolls, so he wouldn't know that. But now, he and now all of you do.
My word is as good as my hammer, even if I was treated.
Orn grumbled. For the next 10 days, Orn labored and created the single best door anyone had ever built. It was adorned with a ram's head, much like his own, and the one at the heart of the Freljord. It was impervious to magic and lockpickers alike. The door was then fastened to Grubgrak's troll cave that was at the top of his own mountain. After admiring the craftsmanship, which was quite rare for a troll, Grubgrak realized that it had been a day since he had counted his gold. But he could not find a way to open the door. None at all, really. Really. None at all. Grubgrak tried brute force to open, but the ram-faced door did not budge. Then, he tried to strip the paint with his foul breath. Again, the door did not budge. Lastly, he tried to pry the hinges from the cave wall, but, alas, the door was fixed to the mountain so firmly that the troll only hurt his own shoulders, trying to shake it loose. He was locked out. With his failed attempts to enter his troll horde, Grubgrak stormed right back into Orn's forge.
Ah, what trickery is this?
He yelled. His breath was so bad, the forge fire nearly flickered out. Orn then gave him a reply as he stoked the flames back to life.
There is no trickery. You told me to build a door that would keep your treasures safe from thieves forever. And I did. This door will stand longer than the mountain it is on. No one can break it. I made it just as you asked.
The troll shouted at the great ram again, lamenting that he could no longer enter, saying he stole nothing from him. But Orn explained that he indeed stole something. Time. To him, Time is more valuable than gold. Grubgrak tried for years to get back inside for his treasure, but the door never opened for him, and he could not even find the keyhole. With each attempt, the ram-headed door stared back at him, an eternal reminder of the time he cheated Orn. And if you listen carefully, up in the mountains, you can hear greedy old Grubgrak's wails of anguish before any avalanche, even to this day. Alright then. What's that? Dear, more? Oh, goodness. Alright. Just one more. One more. Just one last one before we shut our eyes. Okay? Oh. I must say, this story is the most tragic. Apparently the older members of tribal families would ready their children before they tell them this. But since we're here and facing other possibilities up here in the Freljord, I might as well tell you this tale.
Praise Orn, the Firebringer. I ask for your wisdom, First Builder and Forge Lord.
Once in a time, long before the Freljord was splintered to its state today, much like the other tribespeople, one such existed for Orn, much like I said earlier tonight. They lived at the base of his mountain. A legion of smiths claimed to worship him, but if you were to ask him, they were misguided, for he would not say he had no followers. Despite that, these smiths would build themselves a small yet hearthful village, a town at the base of Hearthholm. They numbered in the thousands. They crafted tools, made plows, built carts, and forged armor. Very homes, they built furnaces for their warmths and forge. This legion of humbled smiths would be known by the very name they called themselves, the Hearthblood. I hope you did remember their names. Yes, I did say that earlier tonight. Now, for they never felt the biting cold of the Freljord. That is why they called themselves the Hearthblood. And they could tolerate the immense heat as well, bubbling beneath their bare feet on the slopes of Hearthholm. As history would remember the Hearthblood, they became the finest craftspeople in the world, and their workmanship was surpassed in quality only by Orn's. On rare occasions, the master of the forge would venture out to appraise their works. If he liked what one of the Hearthblood had wrought, he'd simply said, "Possible," a mighty compliment from the first builder and forge lord, who had learned long ago to let good work speak for itself. Orn never truly admitted that he admired the Hearthblood, but deep within his volcanic heart, his feelings churned with respect for their hard work and dedication to craft. His respects went further, since the Hearthblood never knelt before him or sacrificed flesh as offerings or give him honors. Any word that were heard from his mouth were never made into gospel or scripture. Simply put, they were imaginative, resourceful, and hardworking, simply focused on their work. Though they could not realize, due to Orn's mighty beard, their work always made him smile. But on one infamous day, one of Orn's siblings, among the pantheon of the spirit gods, came to visit his Hearthholm. He was the most savage and the most primal of the gods, the embodiment of the land's most harsh of weathers, violent weathers. He is the relentless storm, the thunder's roar, the great storm, Valhir. Today, he is known as the Volibear.
Glory to the Volibear, the thousand-pierced beast. Give my people the resilience of your wilderness and the fury of your storm.
His visit to Hearthhome was not a friendly one. Both Orn and his brother were never friendly, nor have they ever visited each other's company. The Great Bear was going to make war and needed weapons for his army. The war he was going to lead was against the three sisters and their followers. Orn took a look at his brother's army. Fierce aberrations, men twisted into other shapes by their efforts to please the Volibear. These grotesque followers are known as the Ursine. They were simple and fierce and quick to anger. As they stood before their god, the Volibear voiced his wicked demand to his brother.
Give them swords and axes. Give them armor, and I will make it worth your while.
Orn, however, stood firm and said no. He simply did not want any part of his brother's warmongering.
Fine. Have your followers do it instead. I do not care. Do this. I am your brother.
This reply irked Orn heavily, so much so that both of his great horns flared with molten heat. Again, though, he may say that the Hearthblood are a misguided bunch. He truly had a dear love for them.
The people in the town below do not follow me. They build for themselves. They are quiet and work hard. That is all.
But the Volibear saw beneath his brother's words. Despite his cruelty, the Bear of Storms and Wilds was very good at reading others. With his brother's words, he replied that the Hearthblood were reflections of him. Orn's anger grew. His horns grew hotter to brighter red, then to bright white. The temperatures would be so hot that anything surrounding him would have melted in an instant. Orn then growled at his brother.
If I see you again, Volibear, I will beat you within an inch of your life.
Unfortunately, the Great Bear loved to fight. As he huffed, he took a piece of armor from the walls of Orn's forge, saying that if Orn would not make what he wanted, then he would simply take it. It was with that, Orn charged at Volibear and smashed him with his molten horns. The charge was so powerful of a blow that the very summit of the mountain shook. This was what the Volibear wanted. Since, for the longest time, he had grown jealous of his brother for the love he received from the Hearthblood, the small town at the base of Hearthhome felt the rumbling beneath the earth. They stood as the people tried their best to protect themselves. The fight between the great ram and bear would last for 8 days. With each blow struck, with each roar sounded, the mountain trembled. The fighting was so fierce that from the very peak of Hearthhome, molten rock exploded and crumbled to the base of the mountain below. Around them, lightning struck at its side like a barrage. Geysers of flame and smoke gushed out from the cliffs, and the skies grew black and red. The blood of the world ran through the highlands, soaking stone and snow alike. People all over the Freljord watch in fear of the battle between the Volibear and Orn. Once the smoke cleared and the rumbling stopped, the destruction was nothing short of devastating. Upon looking upwards at the mountain, it had lost its peak. But worse, the Hearthblood were all dead, and their town, that at the base of Hearthhome, was nothing but a smoldering ruins and a fading memory. Many centuries after the clash of the two great gods, the now half-mountain, better known as the Broken Mountain, where Hearthhome used to be, a plume of smoke rises from the crater where the peak once stood. Some tribesfolk say that it is Orn lighting the fire below the mountain to prevent it from going out. Some others say that he was truly killed by the Volibear, for he hasn't been seen ever since. But there are still a faithful few that say that Orn, the master of the forge, is building a great weapon ready to be unleashed upon dire times. A time of need where not only the Freljord would need saving, but also the entirety of Runeterra.
Right. Finally. Now I believe this has finally satisfied all of your knacks for tales for tonight, yes? Good. Very good. Now, we must get some rest for tonight now. Oh, what's that? The war between the Volibear and the Three Sisters. Oh, do not worry. We shall save that for the next time. We must get some rest. And in the next time, we'll be far deeper in the winterlands here. So remember, keep yourselves warm and alert. And that the main enemy here is the very land itself that surrounds us now. Now go, get some sleep. I will see you all when dawn breaks.